All right, we'll finish up here. Instead of rehosting another spaces, because I won't keep you guys for too much longer. We covered off a pretty good amount of information, but we can cover the AMA stuff now to kind of dive back into that side of things. And again, this will be available afterwards, so we can split that information kind of back to back and get it sorted on that side. So we'll cover off the information again. Apologies for the cutoff. I have no idea what happened there and why that was a problem. I don't know why I don't just stream it anyway. It's kind of so much easier. So I'll just post it everywhere, and again we'll give 30 seconds or so, and then we'll get into it. Yeah, this is what happens when you ask a project lead about his bags. Yeah, I mean, like, look, the timing maybe could have been better. I would have preferred the timing be slightly better than that side of things. And yeah, the spaces was a pretty rough start, but again, we can pick up from here, and that'll be great. So we can dive into the price action as well straight after, eh? Get some trading sorted and get it all going here. Yeah, Spaces on PC. Yeah, I was going to do it through phone. I've never actually run Spaces through desktop before. This is the first time, first and last. Yeah. So the broadcast just goes phone next time. Doxing our YouTube accounts, exactly. This is all part of the plan. It's all just part of getting as much marketing information I can out of everybody. Yeah, now I've got your YouTubes, Twitters. I got a lot already. Yeah, the timing was perfect. I was like, yeah, let me just answer this question about how much I own, and then space is dead. Where did I get to? Where did I get to in the discussions on me discussing supply? Where, like, can someone just give me a summary of what the last thing you heard was, and I'll just pick up the conversation from there. Oh, Farmer Joe had started selling. There was some drama. Yeah, man, they got me. Yeah, so Farmer Joe had started selling, and that caused a kind of a bit of a stir, because again, I think at that point in time there was still kind of an association with Farmer Joe being involved to some extent and kind of having a role to play in this project. That conversation and that approach that Farmer Joe took was when I had a kind of an open and honest discussion with him to say basically, like, look, I need to distance the project from you, because you're now kind of conducting actions in which are detrimental to the project, but they shouldn't be, because you're not doing anything when it comes to the project, right? So like I needed to create that distance between us. I opened up the channel for OTC stuff, so if Farmer Joe wanted to sell any more, then I would be happy to kind of take that off his hands and just do that OTC, instead of him having to go through marketplaces in order to try and sell. But that was all resolved like really, really positively. Farmer Joe was kind of like, we had a really good discussion on the back of that. Farmer Joe still holds. I think actually bought more during that patch of time. When it comes to the supply that Farmer Joe has, I'm not sure of what that exact figure is. So I don't know what that figure is, but this is what the supply looks like for the project. Right? So this is why I bring us over to Unisat here. So this is what the supply holdings and the holders look like. So if you take a look at the way the distribution works here through the top 20, okay, he's since sold more then. He sold more at 24 sats this week. Perfect. Like, as much as FJ wants to cash out, the better. There is no problem. And yeah, George has been doing a wonderful job of keeping hold of that. So we had around 17 mil. Fine. So basically, yeah, this is the current kind of distribution among the top holders that we have within the project. So we basically got 2.74% as the top holder, and that's it. The rest of the distribution is split between all of the holders, of which now there are 2,500. Okay, so we've kind of got a really good distribution split in here. Like I said before, fair launch, and so this is what we've ended up with. When it comes to the supply that I own, I mean, I'm not sure there's much advantage in discussing this or disadvantage in discussing this either. I'm in the top 5 holders. All right, I'm in the top 5 holders. The second part of that discussion was like, what's my exit strategy, essentially. I think that was the question. Maybe exit strategy sounds maybe a little bit too aggressive in terms of the way it was phrased. Let me just make sure I've got the wording right here. And it was exit plan. Massive respect, self-funding this. Can you elaborate the thoughts? Okay, I think it was to do with like exit plan. There is no exit plan. There is no plan to exit this. The thing that I want is I'm not the top holder. I want to be the top holder. So my process is still very much in terms of bringing more Waddle under my name. I've got no intention to sell at kind of any point. I don't really see the necessity to do so. There's an egotistical side of me that requires to have top ownership in order to feel like top dog here. So like I kind of want to get that established and get myself to the number 1 spot. But when it comes to an exit plan, there is none. There is no exit plan. The only thing, and this plays into the discussions that we were having a little bit earlier on and the way that this project started and was created, it has its advantages and its disadvantages. The advantages of what we have are this distribution list. The fact that this distribution list exists in the state that it does is a huge success for this project because, like I've said and stressed before, it means that we've got no like ridiculous outstanding supply. We've got no concerns about teams dumping. We've got no people who have got kind of, lots of ownership and we're worried or nervous about that. We have super low distribution values spread very well across the holders. The downside of that is that there is no treasury. There is nothing that funds this project. This project was started from absolutely nothing. It was started from a Telegram group of 20 people and me taking control of it. There was no ordinals collection. There was no pre-runes collection. There was nothing that created and drove a community prior or established any form of treasury for project growth. Again, there's advantages and disadvantages to that. I don't see any reason why the community can't continue in the same vein that it started in terms of collaborating, producing content, driving things forward. We even had somebody the other day who offered to make a donation of Waddle towards kind of like a treasury fund. The only thing that I can think of why I would ever need to do anything with Waddle in the future in terms of selling off anything is to fund larger plans from a treasury perspective. Like that's the only thing that I can imagine would be a situation in which I would release some Waddle to the market in order to fund essentially a treasury for the project to whatever hurdle we're looking at getting through. As it stands so far, everything that's been done to this point has either been funded directly by me on a personal side without selling any Waddle, or has been provided for by the community. And so that's where we are. And that's fine for now. We don't need any huge expenses. We don't need anything at this point in time that's going to kind of, require a massive investment. And I don't really want us to have a super large treasury. There's no reason for that at this point in time. We're still not at that stage. when it comes to that, we can have those discussions, and I'll be very open and honest about that process. Should we get to that point in the future? Okay, I'm kind of glad to hear George should have tagged me, man, or maybe he did, but I'm kind of glad to hear FJ selling more. Although, as I said, he can come to me. It would be far easier for me as well. So. Yeah, so that's where we are on the on kind of the supply side of things, the potential of selling things, and then also a little bit of background and history about the actual treasury itself and the origination of this community and this project. So as I said, there's huge advantages in there. There's some things that we have to work around and kind of play around with a little bit as well. Neva says, "What's the snapshot for?" Not going to disclose anything at this point in time. Yeah, can I order pizza with Waddle? Yeah, and then Carajo says here, massive respect for what you're doing. I know you've clearly done well from the space, but are you really self-funding all of this? A passion project, midlife crisis. I feel like you didn't need to add midlife crisis. Like, I feel as though that was something that could have just not been in the sentence. But yeah, so yes, really self-funding this. Again, it's not a huge expense in terms of, kind of getting things going. And yeah, a passion project. I said at the start, like, there was something about this project in particular that just resonated with me. I don't know whether it was kind of like fated that this is the path that it would take based on the way that I felt about that right at the beginning. But when I first, I'm trying to see if I've still got the original post in here about when I I'm just trying to find it, see if I've got it. Everybody just bear with me and be bored for a second while I take a look up at what if I've posted this. Okay, runes discussion. I want to see what my exact wording was. God damn. All right, well, I'll find that so we can see the wording. So yeah, it's like it is a passion thing. It is a passion project, and I've enjoyed it a lot. I feel as though I can put this into kind of like really good use. And my process here as well is that it kind of also enables me to be able to run a project because I came in and picked this up. There's no problems with supply. There's no like shady deals that have gone on. And it's something that's kind of like open and out there and everybody can see, kind of what's going on. So it's not like launching a token from scratch and kind of the negativity that comes with a larger account doing that. It feels like a really nice kind of like route in as well. So yeah, I've loved every moment of this project, kind of the rise that has been so far. Let me get back to the questions. Apologies for getting distracted and making you sit there while I search through. Okay, so this is when everything locked down. Got to get a co-host. Yeah. Co-host would be useful. One person can take a break, plus gives the impression that there's a team. There isn't a team. There isn't a team. Like there's nothing right now. Right? That is in the process of being established. We've got Con, who's working as the creative director here. and kind of doing all of the artwork stuff, and has been doing an amazing job with the branding side of things. But when it comes to the team, I have a huge amount of discussion that's ongoing with various people across various ecosystems and from various business ventures. So I have this huge network of support, a network of people who are ready and able to assist with things that I'm going to need for this project down the line. When it comes to the team side of things, we're in that building side now. You know, we've got the guys in here who are modding this. We've got CD in place, so we are starting to pick up on things. But yeah, in terms of where we go from kind of larger structural figures, still very much in solo mode until we pick up. Yeah, I think when it comes to centralized exchange, Pierre says I would have no issues with you offloading some. Yeah, again, that's all future discussion. And even then, like the offloading of some isn't going to be the centralized kind of figures that we're looking for, really. Will there be any level of transparency for when you should be selling your bag for Treasury? Yeah, absolutely. I'm more than happy to discuss that transparently. My aim here for this project is to build something that is a massive project. It's not to. I wouldn't have already put so much kind of time and effort and personal finance into this if it wasn't something that I didn't have significant longer term plans for, and something that I really believe has the openness to succeed at a very big level. And so yeah, I like, for me, it doesn't, like, I can tell you if I sell for the Treasury, that's absolutely fine if that kind of makes you feel better about things, or at least more relaxed on that side of things. Yeah, more than happy to kind of share that openly and discuss that side of things. Like I said, I've been very clear and transparent with the discussions I've had on Telegram with the smaller group before the Discord was created. And, we'll absolutely continue to do that. I've been very clear about the communication style, the marketing approach, the way that I want the project to operate. And yeah, stuff like Treasury. If it's, it's going to be for a Treasury, I have no problems in sharing the details around that. Ooh, good one. Good question. Can you elaborate on the thoughts with educational Pengu content and thoughts with onboarding people to own their first rune? Great content release so far. Curious if this is something the community can keep churning out and using to help others on board. Very, very good one. Love that. Love that question. That is absolutely the intention. So I spoke about earlier this kind of growth phase being in the first phase, entering phase 2 now. The idea about Waddle is the fact that I've spoken about the openness of the character, the openness of the meme, and the fact that we don't polarize or kind of remove any groups by our branding, our naming, and all of those things. And I want Waddle to be, firstly, the thing that onboards people to runes, and secondly, because of that, it becomes a blue chip rune. So I want to onboard people and educate people about the rune space. I want Waddle to be associated with that onboarding, with that education, and with that first purchase. And I want Waddle to become a core portfolio hold for everybody through that path and from everybody already in the runes ecosystem. Right? So that, for me, is the pathway that I would like Waddle to take. So the educational side of things is very important. It's also important because no one else is doing it. Runes, for a lot of people, is a very complex space. It doesn't need to be. It's a very simple concept, but there's a lot of overcomplicating of what is a simple process ecosystem. And so I want us to kind of cut through that, associate us as the onboarders, and then establish that kind of blue chip runes image. Thoughts on official WeChat for our friends out east? Yes, currently in discussions. So currently in discussions with a very, very good representative, actually part of the Woo team. So I'm going to be having discussions there, because there's also conversation as well about making sure that we have international Discord allowance as well. So making sure that we're established in the right way there. So yeah, absolutely, that is very much important to me, because the market in the East is also incredibly strong on the Rune side of things. You've never run a project like this before and you have a great reputation in the space. If things go south for some unforeseen reason, as things often do, it could do huge damage to that reputation. So the question is, why take the risk? Well, I don't really see it as a risk, because it's kind of, again, I spoke about the way this project originated and the kind of the takeover process. And I think that reduces risk to begin with. And then the other part of that is, if something were to go wrong, I don't know under what situation that could possibly be. The only way that I could think about something going wrong would be that the project wasn't a success if you looked at it in the future and you said, well, that didn't work. And I don't think that would be through lack of effort and commitment to attempting to do so. So I also don't think it comes with a reputational risk, because I think I would have given everything to trying to ensure that this is successful. So for me, I don't really see that there are many risks attached to it, because I think if the project fails, then it isn't through the lack of effort and trying and resources. And apart from that, if it's something, malicious or, I don't know, whatever impacts, then I think obviously that's out of my hands as well. So I really don't see kind of much reputational risk kind of on my side of things. But again, I'm not really thinking too much about the risks, more the positives of the success side of things. Based on your experience, what makes a good meme coin project if you were to make a list? Community, engagement, memes, content, and adding something. Right? So even though they're meme coins, very often there is kind of a value element to them. Whether or not that value is achieved through the fact that the community is so strong, people feel as though they have an internet home. Whether or not that value comes from the fact that they produce content for everybody to enjoy. You take a look at Pudgies, for example. Pudgies has kind of both of those. It has both content it's created that people enjoy, and it also has a community in which people kind of feel very much at home. So, that kind of way that meme coins can seep into your mind and kind of plant a seed is very, very important. And in this space, there's a great balance that you have to strike between the degen side of a project, so the stuff that is like the degenerate imagery and the degenerate kind of messaging, with keeping things open and friendly. So we've got to strike that balance between what is a kind of a cute meme, what is a degenerate meme that resonates with people? How do we create content that straddles both sides while doing both of them well? Okay, not like doing the cute side poorly, but then the doing the degenerate side really well. We need to make sure that balance is struck. So yeah, I think from a meme coin perspective, there are a number of things that cause success. I also think one of them is in the communication style as well, which again I've referenced earlier on. I think whenever projects are super loud, and I see it all the time because of the nature of my account, but when I post and underneath my post there are 15 people posting different tickers, or AI using the wording of my tweet to form their own tweet about their own ticker is like super red flaggy. Right? That's like a really negative sign for projects. We're not trying to fight for that space by being in people's replies, by being the annoying reply guy account. Like, as I said, our value will come through the fact that we have that community, that content, those memes, and we're able to share those independently and kind of be successful in our own right. That pisses me off so much. Let's see. Small, you get your answer on stream. Man, BZ hit a classy little penguin as well. Man, already doing honoraries? What a legend. What a legend. Yeah, so these memes okay? 100%. 100%. Like I'm not going to throttle the community anyway. Okay? Like you've done with Gary here. Okay? If you want to do the Pengu as Gary Gensler's dick, that's fine. Like I'm not going to throttle the community and be like, don't turn the Pengu into a cock, please. Right? Like if you want to do that shit, do it. Like nothing wrong with that at all. Again, we have to have that balance, and I think if I start kind of saying no, that's too much, no, don't do that, like that takes away the community side of things. Like do whatever you want with it, right? It's a free use case for you. Great beam as well. Yeah, see, like, and that what we've just seen there, right, is the beauty. Okay, two smalls interacting with each other. Okay, Potato posts the Gensler meme, and then immediately Small News comes up with jerking the chicken, waddling the Pengu. That's the sort of shit you can't make up. Right? You see a GIF, and now suddenly we've created some wording that we're now all going to use for jerking off instead. Right? So that's the power of the community and the sharing of stuff like that. And that's why I always encourage people, like, even if you think it's like your meme's dog shit or whatever, like, get it up there, like, get posting. Few projects are doing a Discord role based on the amount of tokens held. This provides a nice self-satisfaction for the holders to see and own the role. Any plans for that? Yeah, again, I don't mind if that's something that people, particularly want. Some people won't like to display what they hold. Some people prefer to keep that quiet. If it's something, you want to kind of, throw some weight around and show how much you own, yeah, I'm more than happy to kind of think about an elevated position in terms of a Discord role for you under that. Obviously, you just need to provide me with some proof and then a sizable donation as well. And then after the donation, making sure that you still fit enough for the role. Any information on things already completed and ready for release or upcoming releases? So this is the part that I have to be a little bit quieter on, because I don't want to reveal too much, and I don't want to give too much away in terms of what we've got lined up. In terms of kind of publicly what I've been discussing, the community packs are currently receiving prototypes. So got a number of things in the community packs that are going to be going out. And again, this is just going to be for people who have been particularly active, particularly helpful, content creators, and to make sure that we can start getting some, again, increased feelings of community spirit here from associating with the project. So those community packs, t-shirts, and other items that I won't disclose will be made up into really nice kind of community boxes that will be sent out to those people who are willing to share an address or a PO box. And then when it comes to kind of larger developments, if I start talking about them, like even in a way that I try to hide them, I think I'll start tripping over and maybe revealing too much. So I would prefer to just keep those under wraps until I'm in a better position to be able to share them kind of with more detail. I either don't want to not be able to answer questions, or I don't want to kind of like spoil surprises or structure of what we have. Yeah. Why be quiet? Why not reveal things? Because I think again, there's a situation in which I can overpromise and underdeliver. There's also an element to which it's not in a place to be shared and discussed at this moment in time. And then there's also the speculation side of things. As it stands right now, I've been as kind of clear and transparent about things as I can be at this moment in time. But there's really no sense in me trying to dive into other details until I have absolute confirmation that I'm not going to be over promising things or putting deadlines in place that then aren't met. Like, when I'm in a situation that I feel entirely comfortable that everything will run smoothly, then I will share information. So, and as it stands right now, like I said, we're this growth phase. We're still in this early phase, and we've done exceptionally well over the last 7 days. It's been a monster run up, and again, without kind of like even shouting too much about it, without having to do a lot, which already gives me such positive views on the project as a whole. The fact that we've had the reaction that we've had this week, and we've literally like just been vibing. Like, that's it. We haven't been shouting and screaming about things. We've not been going crazy, spamming. Like, we've just been riding that wave. Fair enough, but it would be nice to have something to look forward to. Yeah, I mean, I guess the point that I would make to you there is, like, of course there will be things to look forward to, right? Like, of course there's going to be things to look forward to. It doesn't mean that, it all needs to be revealed now, right? Like, for example, like, you get presents on Christmas Day, right? But just because you get presents on Christmas Day doesn't mean that you get to open them in June. Like, that's the reference I'll give you. You know that good stuff's coming, but it doesn't mean that you get to unwrap everything in June. Except we don't know good stuff is coming. That's the point. So I guess I'm also probably the sort of person that will kind of like speak to how it is. like if you don't know or don't anticipate that good stuff is coming, you probably shouldn't hold. Right? Like that's probably the point. Like if you need everything from a project spilled out to you on the very first stream for the project, you like I guess I don't really understand the expectations of you as a holder. Like you just need everything like laid out in front of you. I feel as though I've been, pretty transparent in terms of where we are as a project. I know you never said that exactly, but I mean you're asking as of right now, kind of, 4 weeks into a community-based takeover, like what all of the good news is. And then because I won't share the good news, then your thought process becomes like, well, if you just say it, then we don't know that anything good is going to take place. So I just mean like if your mindset is to question the fact that nothing good will take place, let's phrase it that way, that would just also make me question it. So as I said, I'm not gonna start revealing things and like being held to things from discussion. You can already see like the way that works from the discussions around the snapshot. Right? So I sent out one tweet about a snapshot, and people have remembered that and questioned me on it on the AMA, which is great. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that kind of like snapshot discussion. But that's also what I want to avoid is I start loosely mentioning some things and all of a sudden, every day for the next 3 weeks, people are asking the question of like, where is this? Where is this? Like when stuff is ready, I will happily share and discuss. We'll just take any we'll take any final questions. Big update in 3 weeks just revealed. Yeah. Yeah, final questions and then we'll wrap up. And I took a lot longer on this stream than I thought I was going to from the overall discussion perspective. But I appreciate so many of you joining in and having the discussion on kind of stream/spaces number 1. Haven't heard the sexy voice in 3 weeks. I did stream last night. You missed it, man. About onboarding people, how important is getting Waddle as the first rune listed on a top centralized exchange? Well, I mean, we've already missed that opportunity with Dog getting listed. So, there's no rush on that side of things. And again, I think, there's actually a separation there in the thought process. When we're talking about getting people onboarded and onboarding people, we're really doing that through the Runes ecosystem versus it being on a centralized exchange. We're trading everything on centralized exchanges, regardless of their chain. That to us, they're just on a UI for some centralized exchange. Right? We don't actually care about what the underlying project token is doing and what chain it sits on. We're just interested in the price going up or down. And so, again, the onboarding side comes into the Runes ecosystem. So actually, the centralized exchange listing is far less important from the onboarding side, especially from where we are currently on the Runes ecosystem stuff. Again, infancy stage there, still very primitive, still not a lot of good products, still a huge amount of room for people to enter the market in terms of creating really good apps and projects within the Runes ecosystem. Because the stuff here at the moment is dog shit. Magic Eden has done a pretty good job in terms of Runes listings, adding some of the structure in terms of charting recently. But really, the infrastructure is still dog shit on that side of things. And after 6 weeks, that can still be expected. but there's a huge amount of space and opportunity here for somebody to step in and do something, kind of really cool and really attractive, or lots of opportunities. So the centralized thing, yeah, again, is absolutely part of the project plans, absolutely something that we will have, but the onboarding is just slightly different, that's all. As soon as everything's done by the end of the week, yeah. Will you pay Carl the Moon? Yeah, absolutely fucking not. Yes, Potato, don't worry. I got you sorted. When we're done here, you'll be all sorted. Yeah, ticker stuff is always really interesting as well. So you said, by the way, Pengu or Waddle, and this was actually one of the first discussions that I had in the Telegram group was, how do we refer to the project? Like, do we refer to it as Waddle? Do we refer to it as Pengu? Like, how do we refer to the project? Because we don't want to use the full name all the time, so it has to be shortened. And then it's like, which side do we shorten it on? Do we drop the Waddle, or do we drop the Pengu? And I think we actually have a far better differentiator if we just use Waddle. But then we also have a problem that we also can't add a ticker to it because of the soul side of things and the scammer side of things, creating copycat projects and people losing money as a result. So we're trying to keep like the ticker out of it, but in reference, I tend to use Waddle as like the primary language. And you've probably noticed that in the discussions tonight, I tend to refer to it as Waddle. Gives us a lot more wordplay as well. Gives us a huge amount more to play around with the language on tweets and with content. All right, so let's wrap up there. I appreciate all of you joining me. Thank you for the questions. I will obviously be remaining active and involved in the discussions in the Discord. There will be some changes coming in there over the course of the next week. Obviously, we want to get different languages involved, and there'll be some role recruitment within there for some things that we need. We'll be keeping an eye very closely. The mod team in here are working with me to have some meetings on the discussions that you guys are having. So if there's anything that you think is particularly lacking, you would like to see more of, you would like to see less of, then always kind of happy to hear that feedback, and the mods will pick up on that, and in my discussions with them, we'll make sure that feedback is taken on board. So if there is anything that you want to share, please feel free to go ahead and do so. Yeah, more meme creation is always appreciated. The more content for the Twitter account, the better. So that is always a good thing to have. And once again, a huge thank you for joining me on this. And I promise I will not, I'm going to say let you down, but that feels like too much, but it's essentially what I mean, right? Like this project to me is something that I will be putting a huge amount of time into. I have done already, and I will be doing everything in my power to make it a top rune on the ecosystem. And then whatever happens and develops from that point onwards, where we go, the direction this takes, and you know, the lengths to which this project can go are still yet to be revealed. But we have a huge opportunity with this rune. We have a huge opportunity with this ticker. We have a huge opportunity with the branding, with the infancy of the space, and you know, remembering that this is still like a 15-16 million market cap project. This has a huge amount going for it, and you know, I will be pushing that as hard as I possibly can. And then to the points about kind of, you know, what's coming, you know, as soon as I can update you confidently without ever feeling as though I'm going to disappoint people, let people down, cause issues, I will absolutely do so. I won't be concealing information. I will absolutely be making sure I'm sharing that as regularly and as often as I possibly can, whilst also making sure that I'm not over promising or bullshitting anybody, and just making sure that I have everything lined up before I share that. Say it as it is, no rug lol. Yeah, no rug lol. Yeah. All right. So once again, thank you very much for joining me, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for being here. It's greatly appreciated.